You've been grinding that side hustle before sunrise and after midnight. And the question eating at you isn't whether it's good enough, it's whether times are. Let's settle this, because the cost of waiting too long is just as real as the cost of jumping too soon. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't quit too early, they quit too late, after the job has already hollowed them out and the hustle has been running on fumes for years. The catalyst isn't always a dramatic moment. Sometimes it's just the slow, suffocating math of trading your best hours for someone else's dream. The first objective metric you need to look at is income replacement. And the rule of thumb that actually holds up is this. Your side hustle should be generating at least 75 to 100% of your current take-home pay for 3 to 6 consecutive months before you even have the process conversation with yourself. Not one good month, not a viral spike, not a single client who paid big 3 to 6 months of boring, consistent, soul-confirming revenue. The second number people ignore is runway, and it will save your life or bury you depending on whether you respect it. You need 6 to 12 months of living expenses sitting in a separate account before you go full-time, because the moment income becomes survival money, your decision-making turns emotional and your pricing turns desperate. Now, here's where the psychology gets interesting, because you can hit every financial metric perfectly and still sabotage yourself with fear dressed up as just being responsible. Studies on entrepreneurial behavior consistently show that the number one reason high performers stay stuck in jobs they've outgrown isn't money, it's identity. Because for most people, the job title is doing more emotional heavy lifting than the paycheck ever was. There's also a productivity signal hiding in plain sight that most people overlook. If your side hustle is growing times despite times being crammed into stolen hours, imagine what it does with your full attention. That constraint is actually your proof of concept. You've already validated the model under the worst possible conditions. The historical pattern here is almost comedically predictable. Someone builds something real, waits until it's almost embarrassingly obvious, then leaps, then wonders why they didn't do it 2 years earlier. We've seen this play out from solo consultants to 8-figure e-commerce founders, and the regret almost never flows in the direction of, I wish I had waited longer. Let's kill the biggest misconception right now. Going full-time on your hustle does not mean betting everything on a feeling. It means executing a structured transition with defined benchmarks, a hard savings target, a fallback timeline, and ideally, one anchor client or revenue stream that you'd bet a mortgage payment on. The practical playbook looks like this. Set a specific revenue target, set a specific savings target, set a date 6 months out, and work backward from there with weekly milestones. If you hit the targets early, you go early. If you miss them, you don't move the goalposts. You diagnose why and fix the leak. Position size matters here just as much as it does in investing. You don't need to quit dramatically and burn the bridge. You can negotiate part-time, take a leave of absence, or drop to contract work as a middle step. The goal is to reduce exposure to your job while increasing exposure to your business, not to make a cinematic exit that feels good on Instagram for 48 hours. The emotional preparation is just as non-negotiable as the financial prep. And it means getting comfortable with the silence that comes after you stop receiving external validation from a title, a manager, or a company-wide email. Build your own accountability structure before you need it. A mastermind group, a weekly review ritual, a coach because self-employment has a loneliness tax that nobody puts in the brochure. Here's the philosophical truth underneath all of this. Discipline, sizing, and consistency are the actual product you're selling to your clients, to the market, and to yourself. The business you build is only as stable as the decision-making process you bring to it. And that process has to be boring enough to survive the months when nothing is working. The only move that's clearly wrong is staying indefinitely out of fear while the window quietly closes. Because markets shift, skills age, and the energy you have right now to build something is genuinely finite. If the numbers say go and your gut has been screaming for 2 years, that's not a sign to do more research, that's a sign to execute. Whether you're building toward a real estate portfolio, a contracting business, or a services company, the transition from employee to operator follows the same fundamental logic. Know your numbers, protect your runway, and make decisions with your spreadsheet before you make them with your heart. And if you're ready to take that next step, Check out our links in the description below. We can help you get started, whether in real estate investing, home contracting work, or finding the right lenders to back your vision.